Everyone's looking forward to Josh's robot body.
I certainly.
Hello, everybody! Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's
The
Day.
day that every year we commemorate Josh's future robot body.
Love robot.
Love robot.
Hot.
With that, we should probably roll the intro, shouldn't we?
Hello, boys. Pink lemonade?
Mom!
Hello, everybody! Welcome back. Sadly, we are one player short. Romantic plans and all that. It is Valentine's Day, after all.
Romantic plans with a toilet.
Out of context, that's not good. Yeah, we are getting banned from YouTube, so thank you very much for joining us, everybody. He's unwell, is what the reference was there, just in case you need that clarifying.
Yeah.
The part
In the head. So, I'm done.
Too much
done?
kirsch for you, mate.
Too much kirsch for you.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Moorish. The party finds themselves in ye old trip to Old Udlag Tor. If you want to know what happened last episode, find it on YouTube. It was quite good. We all enjoyed it, I hope. Specifically, the last session ended with a couple of things happening in rapid succession. One is our good friend Felix bursting into a room to find a man or a person in a bed and a pair of brass spectacles staring at you, shouting, "What are you doing in my room?" Meanwhile, downstairs, our very own Thenaeus, I've been practicing, was tracing some small, strange, coarse fibres, like Hessian fibres. Went down into the steam room and located them going through the steam room and looking as if they were going out a window. And as he jumped up to peep through the window, and something grabbed his leg. That's where we currently find ourselves. I think everyone's gathered on the landing, to use a very British turn of phrase.
You, Elantrix, are aware of who was booked into the room. That was the
Yeah,
missing
you have a
piece
list
of
of-
information.
Yeah, I'm all over that.
I thought you might be.
Elenda, Bravis, and Rosette.
Nice.
What music would you like?
We can be relaxed. Why not? It's only
Can we have Falling in Reverse again?
Falling in reverse on full volume. So you burst into this room, Felix, and you're confronted by some shiny brass spectacles looking at you from beneath some sheets. And what are you doing in my room?
I've come to see about the room being cleaned.
What about that room? I don't sleep in that room anymore. I'm in here, and my room should be locked at all times.
Anymore. That's exactly what I needed to know. You came as a party of 3 people who were still
I
in that
wasn't
room?
with them.
No.
I was sleeping in my room, and these people who run this place put them in my room. It's a shared room. People come and go, you know. What are you doing here? Why are you in here?
I need to ask some questions about what happened. A man has died.
Who are you to ask questions of me? It's just a pair of spectacles and some sheets kind of pulled up to his face. There's
Well,
some black hair you can kind of see. That's about it.
I think you'll find I'm an officer of the law.
Ah, persuasion check.
5.
Surprisingly, he just raised an eyebrow. There.
Yeah.
He's a little bit confused. You don't look like an officer of the law. You look like a dog.
I do get that very often. I'm a very hairy man.
What do you want?
I'm only silhouetted, by
You're
the
like
light
a silhouette of a dog.
coming through the door. So, what's he to know? What's he to know?
You're very short.
Oh dear, that's very rude. What does he look like a gnome?
It's hard to tell because he's got these covers pulled up his head. There's some long kind of black hair and these brass spectacles looking at you, but that's pretty much all you can see, really.
Cool. He's gonna pop the sword over his shoulder and give him the old numbers. Right, come on outside. I gotta ask you some questions. I gotta put them in my notepad.
He does actually go to get out the bed. You get a good look at him. He's a gnome. He's got this dark black hair and it's kind of scraggly. And he's got these brass spectacles on. He's wearing like night clothes. He's got like a linen shirt on and some kind of like midriff kind of.
Can I see
loincloth.
through it in the light?
It's only very soft light. What you can see underneath
It's flattering.
is rumpled, to say the least. Yeah. And he kind of like ushers a couple of steps towards the door. He's like, I don't know what you think I've got to do with this. I haven't got anything to do with this.
Oh, I don't think you've done anything wrong. You're just a witness. I need to get your details.
A witness? A witness? A witness to what? What have I witnessed?
Well, there has been some form of death/murder.
A death!
Yes, you were in the room, clearly.
I didn't know there was a death.
The attendant that's next to me, I'm just going to raise an eyebrow at them. Yeah. And just be like, what's going on?
Was she here still as well?
She was kind of. We left her kind of crumpled over with her head in her hands, kind of wondering what was going on. She did open this door to you because you threatened to kick it in.
Like an officer of the law.
So she's not having a wonderful time.
Yeah.
But she is still there. She doesn't really make any audible sound. She's still got her head in her hands. So she won't be able to see you unless you physically try and interact with her. She's pretty.
I'm going to intimidate her. No, I'm not going to do that.
Just while the
Go ahead.
Elantrix would like to intentionally, when she's looking the most engaged with Felix, and who I assume is Bravis, she's going to go back into the dead body room. Just as that's happening. So as you were.
It's the most goth thing you could do.
There's a little bit of toing and froing going on in this conversation, so feel free to go back into what we are now calling the death room. It's marketable. What in particular are you looking for?
She had this thought immediately after the end of last session. I was
Of
like,
course,
oh, why didn't I do that?
Yeah.
She's going to look around and make sure she's being watched.
Yeah, it's quite easy. It's despite the fact there's a weird fungal corpse in here.
Yeah.
Everybody's somewhat predisposed.
Where is Caston at the moment?
That's a good
I
question.
don't know, he was having a bath, but I guess he's not now.
I collected
It's up to
you
you
at
can be
some
having a
point.
bath if you want.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm looking at this little body, I guess.
Okay, Caston, make sure the proprietor doesn't come in this room.
What's the proprietor?
Anyone.
Alright. He's going to turn around.
You're going to have to use that word.
She is going to cast Speak with the Dead.
Sweet.
Literally, the second you left last Tuesday, I was like, why did I cast that?
That's my only Claro regret, is like all of the dead spells.
Yeah. So feel free to go back
Why
to
did more people die?
Felix. But yeah, that is what Elantrix will be doing whilst this is happening.
Okay, is that long? Is you casting?
No,
a
it's
ritual?
not a ritual. It's as I don't think she can cast as a ritual.
That's fine. So it'd be instantaneous.
Yeah.
It's more what I'm getting at. How long do you need?
Yeah.
We don't do anything weird.
I
Yeah,
forget.
casting's not
I forget the
used.
ritual rules. It has to be specifically say that you can cast as a ritual, doesn't it? To cast as a ritual.
Pass.
Yes, I believe that's the case.
I know you can cast certain things as a
Yeah,
ritual.
yeah.
but
It has
you
to be.
can't.
It has to be marked and
There
says.
are no dedicated
Yeah.
ritual rules. Any spells with a ritual tag.
Yeah, it doesn't have that. So yeah, she is going to cast. Spend a third level spell slot to
Splash
speak
in this.
with the dead. And she's going to hold up her shield, which is going to glow the reverse C of the sign of Ophidia, the worm. And she will hold it up, mutter a few words quietly, and try to burrow into the mind of this individual. She's never cast this before. This is the first time she'll have ever cast it in her life.
Purely theoretical. I like it. We are going to come back to Felix. Felix, you have a very disgruntled gnome in his bedclothes staring you down at this point.
Well, Felix is looking him dead in the eyes, and he was thinking, I really wish I could speak to the dead right now. Like, that would be really interesting. Okay, so these two that were in the room with you against your will, I completely understand. What can you tell me about them?
Well, they didn't look very good, that's for sure.
No.
No, I didn't like them one bit. Neither of them.
They were a gnome like you?
No, of course not.
No. Well, it's not obvious to me.
No, one was an elf. The other one was another kind of elf.
Like another kind? What do you
Why
mean?
am I even telling you this? Who are you? What are you?
I'm a man of the law. I'm a man of the law.
You don't look very manly.
He definitely looks more doggish in the light. It looks a lot like a dog.
Travelling in my room in the middle of the night telling me people have died?
Well, this is very serious. If you don't tell me about this, then there will be serious consequences.
Well, it's nothing to do with me. I came back to my room and I had a nice steaming and I found the one, the more elvish looking one of the two, stood over my things. And I thought, well, I'm not going to have this. He looked like trouble anyway. I'm going to move to my own room. So I paid the extra money and here I am.
What do you think he wanted in your things?
I want to steal something, probably.
Do you have anything worth stealing?
Of course. I mean, who are you?
Well, I mean, it would be worth me knowing your background if, going forwards. Because maybe they were looking out for you. You know, this might be more. You might be more involved than you think. I'll be bad.
I only tell things for people who I like, people who I'm afraid of, or people who are going to pay me. So which one are you?
Let me think. He is going to growl in an intimidating way.
Go ahead.
Oh, come on, dice. Why 2 4s in a row? Intimidation. It's a 5 again.
It's a 5.
Yeah.
I've told you everything. I was being steamed. I came back to my room. Orlando was stood over my things, and I said, "Right, I've had enough of you. I'm moving rooms."
So he's gone like. It's just not been very effective. He's like, okay.
I've got nothing to do with me. I'm off to Shadecap as soon as I can be. I've got a thing I need to do, and I'm not supposed to be here anymore. Oh,
that'll do. I will need you to come and talk to my colleague.
I'm not leaving this room.
Okay, I will. Can I see Caston over the other side?
Semicircular hallway. Provided Caston's not the other side of the shift to the room, you'll be able to see it.
Yeah. Okay, so my colleague from the Halfling Liberation Front will need to come and talk to you.
The Halfling Liberation Front?
Yes.
What are they doing here?
Is that intimidating at all? To think of, maybe?
It's a little bit intimidating, yes.
Yeah, because you see how small he is over there? He gets bigger when he comes close.
He seems to adjust his spectacles, bringing it into focus, and then bringing them back again. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm in this room, and I'm protected by the law. I have official business that I have to do.
That is very interesting. I am the law, so I would like to know this business. Can we do passive intimidation?
He doesn't seem passively intimidated. Right?
Okay.
He doesn't seem very passive either.
Yeah.
If that helps.
You say you're a gnome. Are you heading to Sparegas, or you?
I'm heading to Shadecap.
To Shadecap. Have you come from Shadecap?
No, I'm heading there.
Okay. Where have you come from?
Oh, I can't. No business of yours.
It is my business. I'm a member of the law.
I don't believe you.
Interesting. He's gonna close the door.
What are you doing?
Just smash the nearest thing to him.
Help! 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 I'm being attacked!
Because I've played D&D before. We've all got things to do here. Please.
Mainly so I can get my voice back. You cast the spell. You're burrowing deep into the mind of this mass of kind of fungal things that vaguely make the shape of a fully grown humanoid. You've never cast this spell before, but even so, you feel yourself pushing against something weird. what you would expect, kind of theoretically, is to be able to commune in a kind of spiritual sense with something that's there. But actually, what you end up doing is almost as if you're forcing your mind through something wet, lumpy, and uncomfortable. But you do eventually seem to make your way through to a presence. You can feel the presence of some kind of entity. What would you like to say?
Would you like a refresher on what it does? You're right.
I'll quickly Google it.
Okay. She can ask 5 questions, basically.
Ah, there we go.
How did you die?
It takes a little while to answer, and then this gurgling, strange voice comes back. It's a voice that speaks in Elvish, and it's obviously not how it sounded in life. It kind of gurgles up from this thing. I touched the stone.
What did the stone look like?
Green, swirling.
Who had the stone?
Didn't know them.
What did the person who had the stone look like?
Smelt of the outdoor wood elf.
Do you know where they're going?
No. Wanted the stone.
That's her 5 questions.
How are you performing the spell? Have you got your eyes shut? Are you kind of crouched over? How are you focusing in?
She probably doesn't even know.
Yeah.
She's taken to a place that she's never been. She's never She has base telepathy and she can communicate with people.
Yeah.
But this is another level. I guess she's going within herself. It'll probably only be for someone nearby to tell me what I'm.
Cassie looks over and it looks like she's kissing this dead person. 'Cause she's talking like lip to lip to him.
Yeah.
And you can see the dead lips move when she moves her lips, and you can't hear what she's saying, but you can just see that lip to lip movement. But you can see it's not kissing.
This is a Valentine's Day special.
Valentine's Day special. That being the case, you're very, very close.
Oh, but not actually going to get infected. Not actually touching.
Not actually touching. There's a small
Just in
member.
case.
Wearing a lot of
Right you out
lip
of the
balm
episode.
at the time. But you come to and you're close. Let's say you're a foot away from this box. Slightly far away.
So sexy.
You start to see a subtle movement. This kind of fungoid head, if you like, just seems to twitch ever so slightly. It's hard to know what it is. It's hard to know if your mind's playing tricks on you. You've just had a very surreal experience, right? But this head just seems to twitch ever so slightly. And that's all you see.
She stands up quickly, turns around, and walks out of the room. Have we ever investigated anything in here?
We did search
We did.
the room.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Okay.
bare.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna leave the room again, and yeah, just regather with you guys.
You still. So you're closed behind a room.
Yeah, so they
You just
close.
start
They close.
smashing
He just starts smashing things, and then he's going to threaten him with a sword and just be like, "You are addressing a man of the law, and a man has died, and you are not giving me the free information that my station deserves."
Can you roll another intimidation check with advantage?
Oh, please. Cool. That's gonna be a 14 or a 14.
14's plenty.
Cool.
Yeah, so he's just on his knees, and in between gasps for air, he's going, "Oh please, don't kill me! Oh please, I knew I was going to die here! I knew I was going to die here!" I knew him. I knew that Rossett was carrying something valuable, and I assumed he was making a run for Shadecap. I know trouble when I see it, and Orlando was the final straw. I just wanted to move on before something came of it, and now I'm not sure whether to head on and talk to the Justicrees about it, or but maybe they'll think I'm involved in this whole mess, and I'll end up dead anyway.
Yes. So you did know these men?
I did. I knew them here. I met them here. We were steaming. We were just enjoying the time. I'd never met a Wood Elf before.
What is it about him that told you he was up to no good?
He carried his things about him in a stupid rucksack, and he didn't know where the money was, and he didn't know where the things were, and he didn't know what this place was.
You think that maybe because he's a Wood Elf? Maybe.
I don't keep stock of these things.
And the other one? What can you tell me about
Oh,
him?
he was no good whatsoever. Always poking around in people's things. I think he was only staying here so he could make a quick steal of something.
Okay, so you think that maybe this occurred by accident?
What is this? I don't even know what this is. What's
There
this?
is genuinely a dead body in the other room.
A dead body.
The non-Wood Elfy one has been murdered. You can understand where my rage comes from. I need you to answer my questions.
Do you think the Justicrees would be interested in this? Maybe we can cut each other in. Make a bit of money.
I actually work outside of the realm of the Justicrees. I like to not get them involved.
What do you mean? There is no out there. There is no outside.
Well, you wouldn't know.
If there was an outside, I would know about it. I work with Shadecap all the time.
Interesting. In what way?
Well, there's no harm in telling you. Certain people get sent off to Shadecap when they don't want to deal with them anymore, and sometimes they make a mistake. They need them bringing back. So I work with certain groups that find certain individuals, and we take them back.
To the Justicrees.
Oh yeah, well, to anybody. Not everyone's outside the reach of the arm of the law, you know. You should know that. I'm sure they teach you such things.
Did Atlantrix is here, I assume, at this point.
You can. This voice is very audible from the corridor. Yeah.
She's gonna. Hello.
Who are you? What are you doing in my room? She's a woman.
She is a woman. She works with me.
I need to put my clothes on. Why didn't you tell me?
What
Got my tools out all over the place.
what race does this individual appear to be?
It appears to be a gnome. Quite clearly a gnome, you would think.
Does he have his tool out all over the place?
He's wearing a shift, so he's not exactly well dressed.
Gnome, I'm an elf.
I'm very sorry, my lady. I would just like to get changed, if you wouldn't mind, before I take your audience.
Just one question, please.
Well, yes, of course.
Did
He takes his spectacles off and he starts doing something.
Did the elf in the other room have a stone? Green?
Green stone? No. Do you mean the Wood Elf? He had a bag. He was very protective of it. Took it in the steam room everywhere.
Okay.
It was a big jute, you know, the way these civilized types carry things around. You know, he was very protective. I just assumed it was some kind of quasi-religious thing. Didn't want to ask questions.
Put some pants on. She steps outside the room again.
Quickly starts rummaging around and kind of getting dressed.
Felix is going to step out with Elantrix.
Yeah.
Sword over shoulder. This guy, he's a little bit lawful good, if you know what I'm talking about. He says that he's worked with the Justicrees before. You know, we do not want to do dealings with this man. He is more than likely to turn us in.
Where's the other reception lady at the minute?
She's still kind of she's slowly slumping towards the stairs, having not really any clue what's going on. A bit directionless. It's probably the best way to describe it. But Ilyana, you'll remember her
That's
name.
right. Are the three of us together?
Carving the halfling liberation Front logo into the wall outside.
Caston, that body moved a moment ago.
Because something you did to it.
I
I heard you. I saw you. Mumbling silence at it. I saw it mumble back. What did it say? Dark things?
It said we're looking for a
Who
widow.
are you?
Elantrix.
I know that.
I'm an elf, an augur of Nell.
Why do you say silent things to dead, non-silent things?
I can communicate, and she's going to communicate to Caston via Caston via message, and just say like this, just to straighten your head.
Think like sexy thoughts.
He is gonna
It's Valentine's Day.
It is fantastic.
look at you and hit himself with a crowbar without breaking eye contact. In like with angry eyes, trying to just bash you out.
Crowbar bends slightly.
I won't do that again unless I need to. And Felix here as well. I'll relay what the questions I asked and the answers that it gave me.
Okay. I'm gonna be honest, kind of creepy weird that you talked to that dead dude, but really useful. I think we have enough information.
I've never done it before. I agree, it was quite weird.
Quite.
But yeah, I saw it move at the end.
You know what the most unfortunate thing is here? We came here to relax. And now there's a dead body. I just wanted to chill.
Where's Thorneus?
He went downstairs, maybe? I
It
don't
is
know.
a good point, actually. You do notice specifically that it's getting late.
Hmm.
On top of it getting late, you're starting to feel tired. You're feeling weary. You've been walking all day, right? And it's very rare in the modern age that we walk all day, but you are very tired. You're an adventurer, so you're used to such things, but it is getting late. It's probably the best way to describe it.
Felix, did you... I can't remember. I feel like I would remember this. Felix, did you have possession of anything after defeating Void? I'm asking that kind of partly in would he have ever told Elantrix that he had?
No.
No. Okay. So I don't think she knows. I don't think she knows of the stone in any way.
Of any stains in any way. Cool.
No. No.
Sweet.
So we're looking for this wood elf, I think.
Okay. Well, we should probably find our friend. I'm a little bit concerned about the gnome, to be honest. He probably already knows too much. And he kind of gives this... He gets the sword and he just kind of gives it a long look and he's like, it would be a bad thing to do. But
You can still hear him. He's muttering to himself in there.
yeah.
You can't really make out words, but he's having some kind of disagreement when there's nobody else in the room.
You can make it look accidental.
Now we know where your alignment is.
The whole place. If that disappears.
Halfling Liberation Front!
No, I think it's probably best we just make a quick exit would be the best way, although I really do need to have a rest. I did think we were just going to chill here. Shall we head downstairs? Try and find our friend?
Yes.
I don't know if I can sleep here with that thing in the room.
Yes, I'm slightly concerned about the moving.
Although we could just lock the door. We could use one of these rooms. Oh, the moving body. Oh, I see. I was thinking about having a sleep. Well, let's find our friend and we'll make a decision.
You heading downstairs?
Yeah. Do we want to check if the body's moved anymore since we had a conversation?
You can glance, yeah.
Well, he can't go in. He was scared, witless last time.
Okay, she'll poke her head in.
It doesn't seem to have moved anymore. When you think about it, you're not even entirely sure you saw it move the first time. It seemed to twitch, but then again, you were involved in something that was quite disconcerting, so it's hard to...
It might have just been flatulence.
Okay.
The body's built up gases, quite unusual gases upon
I've not really
rigor
seen
mortis
a
setting
whole
in.
lot of bodies just left. They're usually cut in half, or taken away, and then cut in half.
Mm.
Is there are other beds in this room?
Yeah, that's certainly right. I believe there were 3.
Either
There were definitely 3 unmade beds.
bed bounds.
Is there anything? Do people rest their heads on things in this world?
Yeah, they certainly do. Pillows and things exist.
I'm gonna throw a pillow at the dead body.
Well done. You throw a pillow at the dead body. You hear a sudden outtake of air from the facial area. Almost a breath being let out. An arm moves ever so slightly and starts twitching. And as that happens, convulsing in kind of a very non-articulated way, this body starts to rise up from the ground.
Roll initiative.
Roll initiative!
He's gonna, he's gonna be like, we kill this again.
Yeah, can you all roll initiative for me?
Yeah, it's my least favourite thing.
I'm trying to remember which one of these with Aeneas.
With 13.
Yeah, these
16.
13, 16.
22.
I'm feeling 22.
We're a bit mushed up since last time, right?
Smash.
Yeah, but
22. Felix was 16.
16, yeah.
13.
How are you looking?
I look about 50% okay.
Okay, yeah, Felix is looking about 50% okay. Yeah. Bit wet around the gills, you know what I mean?
I feel like Caston's had closer calls in the past.
So nice.
Other than the fact that this thing is horrifying, it's a gangly fungoid thing. There's 3 of you. It doesn't look overly intimidating, other than the fact that it's horrifying to behold. It's probably the best way to describe it. First up, we have Caston. You up?
Okay, so he's very pissed off that this has happened now, and he will enter a rage,
Nice.
which I've not done before. It just makes him very angry. Super,
So angry.
super angry. It should give him a few extra damage points.
Yep.
For about a minute. So he's extra raging, and he is going to. Oh. Just smash this thing with an axe.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Seems
Obviously, that's what he's going to do.
good choice.
It is 24.
It's definitely going to hit.
Put them all out. Oh.
D12 is that guy.
That one. So. So with the extra, that is a 10 slash.
Nice. You carve into this thing. It doesn't seem to put up as much resistance as your usual combatants, if you like. It's very easy to hit, and on top of that, you just cleave straight into it. You lob off a whole arm that kind of hits the floor like a wet mass. As you carve through it, you notice that inches of it are taken up by this fungoid growth, basically. There's some kind of strange squelching meat scent that comes out of it, but it's mostly this kind of fungoid mass. Its whole arm just drops to the ground.
Jeez, well, he's raging, he's going to hit him again.
Yeah, go ahead.
Going for the other arm. 23.
Definitely a hit.
And a 12 on the slash.
12. You cleave into this thing again, and you cut the whole body of this thing in half. It kind of crumbles to the floor. And for a moment, you think that's everything. It's kind of just a mass of fungoid
Start walking away.
meat. As that happens, something starts to inflate. You see this strange kind of grey mass just slowly start inflating out of the body of this mass of this thing. Felix, you're stood slightly outside the door, peeking through the shift. You've seen this thing be cleaved to pieces, and there's this inflating grey kind of mass coming out.
Oh jeez. Yeah, I mean. I don't know if I necessarily want to get in close combat with that. He's pretty frightened, so I think he's probably just going to. I can't ready movement, can I? But I can ready an action, so it's not like I can skip 10 and use it when I want.
You can move if you want to move.
Cool. He'll move up into close,
Okay.
but he's going to ready an action.
Yeah.
Basically. I can't remember what that's called. It's been ages since I played D&D. Basically, prepare an action. So if it looks like he'll hit it if based on the orders of anyone else.
Okay.
And he's going to scream for Elantrix to. You need to burn it. It looks like it's part tree. Burn it.
It's the other. Is Elanda?
Yolanda.
Is she still around?
Oh, you mean Ileana?
Ileana, sorry. Ileana.
No, she went downstairs, but you're not really sure if she is now. She's probably hearing all this commotion. You've not exactly been quiet about the whole thing.
Yeah.
There's a raging halfling upstairs, so...
I'm not a sorcerer, I can't burn things. But she's going to walk into the room. Assume it's fairly congested in there, but she doesn't want to be front and centre. She'll probably let Caston be slightly closer.
Yep.
Caston. And she looks, for anyone looking at her, somewhat afraid. She's going to hold up her shield. Speak. Her eyes are going to roll back into her pupils are going to roll back, and her eyes turn almost pure white. And she holds up her shield, and again the symbol glows. And she says something in. Sounds something not elvish. It's a more ethereal, otherworldly voice that she's using, and she's going to use her second channel divinity action to, again, she's not completely sure what she's doing, but she's going to try and turn undead. Not completely sure what she's up against, but she's seen something rise from the dead.
Absolutely.
Now, to be clear, undead isn't a thing. Like, she's never. It's not common that anyone would ever just meet an undead. It's not a thing.
She's asked Ophidia for the right thing to do. Yeah.
She's just afraid, and it's almost an instinctive call to.
Yeah. She's not pulling a lever she would usually pull. Or just turn undead.
Yeah.
Turn undead. One moment, please.
This was a good sign.
What's your DC for that? Do you know? It's wisdom. So I'm making a wisdom save.
Wisdom save.
Whatever your casting modifier is.
Yeah. It would be 13.
13. It's hard to tell what happened, but this grey mass continues to inflate. which continues to get larger and larger. It's coming out of this body. It's kind of there's bits of limb that kind of attached to it that get dragged up this grey mass as it's inflated.
She just says, "Phew."
Given that Elandrix said she couldn't set it on fire, you're right if I use my action that I'd readied.
Yeah, of course.
Cool. I'm going to set light to a torch.
Yeah, cool. It's getting obviously you're close to this thing. It's getting bigger.
Yeah.
Right, so it's getting closer and closer as this thing begins to inflate.
It takes time to light, doesn't it? So
I assume it takes an action.
I think
Maybe.
it's a number of seconds.
Can we say 6 seconds?
I'll allow you to light it as an action.
Oh, he runs.
It'll be
it-
minor enough that you can light it
Yeah.
as an action.
yeah.
He runs it on his rough fur.
Yeah, I'm happy that you light it with an action. I don't know exactly how long it will take you, but I'm happy you can do that.
Lovely.
Caston, we're still in turn order. And this thing isn't... You don't get the immediate... It just continues to inflate. It doesn't look like it's trying to get you. But it's getting big.
Does it look poppable?
Yes.
Okay. If I move backwards, is that like the attack of opportunity by...
It's hard to tell. It's kind of an inflating membranous sac.
Just want to stand back a...
Valentine's Day.
It won't be enough.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Won't be enough, but I want to stand back just so I can throw a javelin at it.
Yeah, you can do that.
It is 22.
High rolls. Definitely a hit. It's very easy to hit. It's like javelin practice.
And it is a 7.
It hits.
Unless that's a strength.
It can be a strength. Yeah, it can be a strength as a thrown object.
Then it's 9.
9. You hit this thing. Is the noise it makes. This fleshy, membranous sac pops. And as it does that, you all suddenly get a sharp feeling. As if you've suddenly inhaled something dusty. It kind of goes down like a bag, like kind of inflates into itself, and you suddenly get this gagging feeling as something comes at you. Can you all make a Constitution saving throw, please?
10. You've got like plus 85 Constitution, haven't you?
20.
20.
Yes, it is 24.
24. That's incredible.
Is this a poisoning?
Do you get resistance to poison by any chance?
Yes.
It won't matter for now.
And I get an advantage on the throw as well. But
Cool. You do get advantage. It won't matter, but you can roll it on the off chance you critically resist it.
and resist everyone.
Yeah.
We'll ignore it.
Okay, so this weird sensation happens. You don't really see anything. This thing deflates, but you get this obvious catching in your lungs. Felix, you get the initial kind of catch, but then you breathe quite easy. You kind of, whatever it is, you've choked it down. And it's almost like when you inhale some of your own fur. It's that kind of catching feeling. Caston, very much the same. You barely noticed it in the first place. You get this sudden, almost like when you accidentally inhale pipe smoke, you get this kind of sudden gag, but then you're okay. Elandrix, you get this sudden gag feeling. You really struggle to get this thing to pass. It kind of feels like it's sitting on your chest a little bit. You kind of double over and you wheeze slightly as it goes on. It seems to pass, but you feel disconcerted by the fact that you struggled more than the rest of it.
She's going to instinctively take the portion of antidote berries that she picked up earlier
Yeah,
and force them down.
cool. You do so.
Are we out of turn order now? Are we?
You definitely are.
Cool.
Yeah, you instinctively swallow them down. They're bitter. They make your stomachs really churn over. You're unsure whether it's had any effect. You're not sure, but you did have this sudden feeling in your chest.
Good call. Glad we got sacks of those. Oh wait.
Yeah.
There's a weird membranous sac that's deflated over a pile of dismembered fungal body parts. Other than that, you're back in this room.
I'm gonna be honest, Castian. I feel like that was the wrong thing to do.
On reflection, maybe not worth popping
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, yeah, we've all had a few of those. And then he like hacks. He's like, and it's like really loud. And then he's just like, I'm good, I'm good. Dogs do that. So I just had something in my throat. I just saw that.
But the look on your face,
You don't look so well.
kind of funny, right? Kind of funny.
Well-
Bit funny.
I'm fine.
The whole situation, you know,
Yes.
bit of a laugh, wouldn't it?
Unless she dies, which would be less
We'll be
fun.
alright. We got the berries.
Haven't you written her a eulogy already?
Hmm.
I worry about that one. So Weird Thungle Grove turns into Weird Sack. We should get the hell out of here. This is bad.
Hmm.
What are you thinking? What's on your mind?
Is this what we're looking for?
Well, you think this is a chime?
She didn't say anything else.
Okay. Well, we're going in the right direction then. Pretty good. Apparently that gnome was carrying some important things. He did mention it. Does anyone want to look in his things?
Whilst they look at the things, Elantric's just going to wander down to the steam room.
Cool. We'll deal with this separately then. You guys, there's this closed wooden door. The muttering that you heard has gone very quiet.
Okay.
Obviously, you've had a good old ruckus in a room that's obviously been heard from behind this door. The whole place is actually very quiet. The whole building, if you like.
What kind of hinges does this door have on it?
They're half-armed. You speaking my language, I know a lot about hinges. They're half-barrel hinges.
Half-barrel.
Yeah.
Awesome. Shall we?
The door's quite
what's the other
thickly
side?
set. It's heavy, but
Yeah. Yeah, but you're dealing with two
Exactly.
strong lads.
Exactly.
I'm sick of this guy.
Tiny, strong
Do
lad.
you want the axe? You want the crowbar?
No, I lift on the left, you lift on the right. They're
Alright.
half-barrel hinges.
Okay. Casson doesn't know all these big words.
Shall we? Do we need to do a strength check, or is
Yeah,
that?
if you do, one of you can roll a strength check with advantage if the other one's helping. Would probably be the best way to do it.
Feels-
Or you can roll off if you're fighting for
Yeah,
it.
let's roll off.
Am I still in my range?
Go for it.
Technically, yes. I don't know how long it lasts for
Lasts
after
for
you.
lasts for a minute.
Yeah, so you are still raging, so you get advantage as on
Yeah.
top of that.
Please.
Double advantage. I'll take it.
That'll do it. That's the better one.
Yeah, I think that's 23.
Nice.
23 will definitely do it. You go to lift this door and it just shoots off its hinges. The whole thing. And there's a locking mechanism that's probably involved, but you guys will barely notice it. Yeah, it will just fall straight over.
I find ripping people's doors off their rooms is very intimidating.
We'll both scream while we do it
Yeah.
as well. We're raging.
As you do that, some things happen in rapid succession, and at any point you can stop me here.
Okay.
Okay. You notice a sheet on the bed pulled over a thing, right? The door flies off its hinges. You hear a squeak, and as that happens, some kind of thing shoots out from under the sheet very quickly. It's gnome-shaped, and flies towards the window,
The window.
where it starts climbing quickly out the window.
Yeah, I think it's going to run after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's carrying a
Something
satchel.
other than the gnome, or
No,
it is the gnome. Yeah,
It's hard to tell how
Yeah.
quickly, but it's happening in
I was
6
like, what's it?
seconds.
Has he got like a dog in there?
It's happening in 6 seconds. This
Cool,
thing's
yeah.
flying out from the sheet and dying to the window.
Yeah, Phoenix is going to go for it. Yeah, and in fact, he's going to use his canine agility to double his movement.
Cool.
So that he can get into close.
Yeah, you'll easily. You're going to try and grapple him. You're going to try and pull him away from the window.
Yeah, he's going to grapple him.
Cool. You won't have to roll. You will just be able to grapple this gnome, who immediately starts screaming. Please don't kill me! Why are you doing this to me?
You're a real piece of work, you are. You're trying to evade the law.
Yeah, he's just going to keep squirming, but he's
Cool.
not particularly strong.
He's going to try and take his. Is his backpack falling off, or is he still holding it?
Yeah, he's carrying like a leather satchel that's
Yeah.
almost like over
Cool.
one shoulder, but it's like a backpack.
So he's going to try and bite the things off the satchel.
Please don't hurt me! Yeah, it will eventually come free. This
Yeah.
satchel does come
Cool.
free.
So he wants to toss that towards Caston before this guy goes.
Hmm?
Yeah. We're looking for illegal goods.
There's nothing illegal in there. Please don't hurt
We
me.
have reason to
Please
believe
don't
you're
hurt
the
me.
one who killed this
Why are
man.
you doing this?
You're a real monster.
He's still holding on to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll just keep. He's just crying. He's just
I've got
going,
reports of a serial killer.
You're not a
He
serial
matches
killer.
your description.
Please don't.
Caston's just gonna say, "Oh, all the evidence is here.
What are you talking
Book him,
about?
governor."
Sir? Why would you do this?
Yeah, just like
And when he's saying that, he's gonna be
Putting some of the body parts in. I quite like being bent, not cops.
Guys and thugs. When they find out in Shinecap, they'll come here and they'll kill you. I'll get them to kill you.
Oh, you're finding the law, aren't you?
Please don't hurt me.
What is in the bag?
It's a collection of paper scrolls, it's travelling clothes, there's a couple of bags in there. It's going to take you a little while to go through it all, but it's his travelling thing, so it's got all kinds of stuff.
It's a load of old crap.
It's like a boot.
Yeah, but if it had been the stone, you would have thought I was a hero. So
Yeah.
it's all good. Okay, there's nothing to suggest. Nothing to. Are you going to pocket anything?
Is there anything of value in there?
It'd take a good rummage. You'd have to properly have a look. You can roll an investigation check.
I tip it all out.
I'm happy to give you
Yeah,
that
tip it all out.
knowledge.
Yeah. It is a 19.
19, well done. There's a couple of official-looking contracts in there that are obviously signed, notarized. So these obviously, what you was telling the truth is on official business for someone, but you're not entirely sure who. Do you read Elvish? Do you speak Elvish?
I speak it.
Cool. So you're probably fine. You'd be able to read kind of what they are if you took the time to read them.
When
But
they're, anything that looks kind of legal, I'm just throwing Elantris' way. Or,
yeah,
or
cool. You can throw
Felix's
it.
way.
I think Elantrix is gone. She's
Yeah.
downstairs, not partaking in any of this.
Throwing them Felix's way.
Yeah, so you're throwing them around. There's a coin purse. There's definitely a coin purse in there. It seems relatively heavy. This guy's obviously sleeping in relative luxury. So, yeah, it's quite a heavy coin purse. You don't count it immediately, but there's a coin purse in there.
Do any of the documents suggest? So I'm just gonna. I can't remember any of the names, but there's like an elven duke that runs this kingdom. Do any of the documents suggest that he works for him?
You won't be able to check them because you're grappling a gnome.
He asks. Asks Castor. Does it look like he works for the
He's looking in
for the big man?
The coin purse.
It's full of gold. Yeah, there's gold in there.
He doesn't really hear you. You have to ask him
The
again.
documents? The documents! What did I say? Yeah.
Just take the money, please.
And like his like his hackles are up, and he's big furry dog. Well, but he's only 2 foot tall, but yeah, he's as furry
He's
as he
big
can
and this.
be.
He's actually quite short for a
Yeah.
gnome. He's weedy. Yeah.
What am I looking for? He throws the coin purse down.
The official document. Who does he work for?
Who does he work for?
You look through these documents. There are a few of them. They name certain people, or they give descriptions of certain people. They look like, effectively, they are they're bounties. They're collection bounties for particular people. They're either given descriptions or given names. There's 4 or 5 of them. and yeah, they describe people. It looks like, if you look at all the insignias, things that are signed, you've had run-ins with the law before.
Hey, that's me.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say none of them are us, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Specifically, it's about taking people and having a writ that means that you can take people away from certain locations. So it would give you legal authority under command of Equa to take somebody.
These specific people.
Yeah, specific people who are written down. It's not, you've heard of this kind of thing before, it's not uncommon, particularly when it's outside the Elven lands. People use lackeys, mercenaries, whoever they can. But if you have one of these, you can use them to collect somebody against their will.
Caston's probably collected someone before.
Yeah, if you've done it before, you will have seen something like this. It's an official bounty.
He's alright, I'll toe rag that one there.
I thought so. We're not going to take him in like he takes in all the other people.
People, I work with people. I just work with people. It's a job.
So he's going to like this window that he was going to get out of. Is it open?
They're all open actually. They're kind of there's no window to it because it's so warm in this place, and it can just be open to the air.
Cool.
So, yeah.
So he's going to pop him on the edge.
Posted.
Pop him on the edge and hold him there, sort of by the scruff of whatever he's wearing.
Yeah.
And he's thinking about how they were betrayed in the Bastion, and how people are untrustable. As much as he's a hero, like he's been burnt somewhat. And he's like, "I'm sorry, friend. You're clearly on official business, but I had to be sure. And I could always have dropped you today, but I didn't. In many ways, I saved your life. In many ways, I'm your friend."
If you let go of him, he will just slump.
Yeah,
he just slumps down. He's pretty inconsolable by this point. He's frightened, very, very frightened.
He's going to kick up the sword like someone kicks up a skateboard. You know how teenagers kick up a skateboard and then grab the hilt, pop it on his shoulder. He's going to nonchalantly walk out of the room with all this guy's shit all on the floor.
So you're not picking up anything in particular?
No.
Cool. Well, I've got the coin purse. I'm going to take the bits of paper.
You can take the bits of paper and the coin purse.
Because there might be rewards. I'm looking for like...
So you're leaving his clothes and his bag.
Yeah.
If we had sunglasses, we'd wear them. Dun, 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 dun.
And you walk out of the room. While this is happening, you hear screaming from upstairs at Lantrix. Screaming, scuffling around, raised voices is what you hear. How you react to that is up to you. But you walk into this, you walk up to this steam room. And as you open it, you open the door, there's these kind of stone pits in the ground. It's very warm in here, believe it or not, being a steam room. There's kind of a collection of stones, and from those stones emit this smoke that smells of lavender. Steam that smells of lavender. It's a little bit smoky, but not unpleasantly so. What immediately draws your attention is over towards one of the windows. There's a kind of a chest-high wooden panelling outside the other room. You're an intelligent person, you can probably figure out why there's wooden panelling in the steam room. However, one of the panels that leads up to the window seems to have changed quite dramatically. Out of the boards have almost appendages like hands that have come out of the woodwork and seem to have been grabbing at something. But other than that, it's very quiet. Still screaming going on from upstairs.
Okay. She's going to take ink and quill.
Nice.
And just try and describe them, almost like documenting it as a cryptozoologist would.
Nice, I like that.
Yeah.
And these kind of appendages coming out of the wall specifically.
Yes.
So there's wooden panelling. It's almost as if the wooden panelling has reached out to grab something. You're quite sensitive to these things. You do get a sense of a mixture of awe and fear when you see this. This is about as far away from normal as anything you've ever seen. You would think it's that somebody sculpted this if it wasn't so abhorrent. It'd have to be a madman who would have sculpted something of this nature. So you immediately know it's unnatural. And there's no sign of Thanaeus other than the fact these arms, these hands, these kind of mutated appendages seem to have been reaching up at something that's gone through the window.
Yeah, she's going to document what she sees, and she's going to document everything that she just saw upstairs as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. It'll take you time to do so. Writing's difficult, but yeah, you're a good scribe. So, as that documentation is happening, you guys come down the stairs, sunglasses on. There's still a sobbing coming from upstairs.
Good.
But
Do we
that's
put his door back on?
There's no way I'm putting that door back. You do it on your own if you want. If you're
I'll lock him in.
yeah, you can do if you want.
I'll roll for it. I won't be raging anymore.
15.
15.
Is it strengthy?
Yeah.
Then it is.
It's not going to matter so much.
Is it? It's not the saving, is it?
It'd be
Yeah.
it could be an athletics check, I
Yeah,
guess,
it'd
if
be
you're
a check.
trying to put it back on.
Okay.
It'd be a good one.
It's 18.
18. Yeah, you pretty effortlessly pick up this door, drop it back on its hinges. Yeah, it's quite easy.
The last thing he's going to say as the door closes to this name: if you've got any complaints, post them to your local police force.
But yeah, you come down these stairs, you see Elantrix. She's got this quill out. Is it a book or bits of parchment? Or
Just a scroll.
just a scroll, yeah, so she's scribing things down. Very elegant, fairly quick writing.
Such beautiful script.
The steam's kind of billowing from this room, it's scent of lavender. In other circumstances, it'd be quite pleasing.
What are we looking at? What is-
Felix, I hope. I sort of hope. This is what we're looking for.
The gnome upstairs, he had nothing. He was just official.
Did you hurt him?
No.
Good.
No, not physically.
Right.
I just can't trust anyone anymore, you know?
I think we need to pay these people and probably make haste.
The gnome said he'd pay. He's going to produce the coin wallet.
I don't believe that at all.
He gave me these papers as well. Elantrix, do you know any of these people?
She will take a look at them. Does anything mean anything to her?
They are. You will have seen. You've seen some before. You probably heard reference to them, and you had the occasional person going. One of the things that probably you notice the most is, sadly, heading from Equa. Sometimes through Speticaza, sometimes they give it a wide berth. People travel to Shadecap, and they're not particularly good individuals. And sometimes they are escorted to Shadecap under guard. And you know full well it's often when the Elven Kingdom needs to be rid of someone, but they have some level of connection or they've found a way out, and Shadecap's their way of getting rid of the Dross.
They're Australia.
Basically,
Yeah.
yeah, it's their version of past Australia.
Yeah.
Just burn all our fans. like.
Yeah, our entire Australian fandom is gone. However, occasionally, not just from Shadecap but elsewhere in the world, the Elven Kingdom needs a way to get people back when their protection has run out. People make a living dealing with very dodgy people. Shadecap's a good place to earn a bounty because there's plenty of people there willing to sell somebody out. Whereas some of the other places, they're really hard to find. People that have these natural alliances, and Shadecap's not really like that. So yeah, it's not uncommon to you. That's exactly what these are. They're bounties. They're writs. They give you legal authority to claim somebody against their will.
So the good news is we're not on there yet. Hopefully let's keep it that way.
You never get me on a writ again. I'm too fast.
I don't think we can stay here.
I'm starting to agree. I think that's fair. The lady at the door, you will deal with her for us. You would have seen that our level of diplomacy is a little more heavy-handed.
Let's please pay the lady.
Okay.
I
We can do that.
I will put the coin purse back in my pocket and and pull out of a different coin purse and give you some money.
Yeah.
And then refill when you're not looking from the gnome's coin purse.
So we'll walk over to
Absolutely.
Ileana.
Liliana, yeah.
And
So you're at this front desk, and
Yeah.
she's just despondently staring out into the kind of middle distance. Oh, hello.
Caston would like to give you something to apologise for your door.
The door, right.
Which door?
Is everything...
We fixed the door.
We fixed the door.
Oh, okay.
There's nothing's wrong with the door.
We even used a key to open it.
Take how much will you be billing for the services?
Well, I don't know if we'll ever open again, so... enough money to live for the rest of my life would be pleasant.
How long are you planning to live?
Well, hopefully a good few thousand years from now, but who knows? Well, you asked for a locked room. It's 10 gold pieces a night. You stayed less than an evening. Food and lodging, call it 5 gold pieces each. It's 20 gold pieces in all. I assume you're taking your other friend wherever he is. They are.
He's going to fish out the most fake-looking ones
Yeah.
from that collection,
Nice.
and the dirtiest ones,
Yeah. There are a few.
and slide them over.
Nice.
Keep all the shiny ones.
She doesn't immediately even grab it. She just kind of stares at the table for a long period of time, and then eventually kind of slowly drags them over and puts them below the desk.
Of the boots that were on the rack, are all the boots of the 3 people there?
Yes, there are 3 pairs.
So what I'm
of
asking
boots.
is,
So there is 1 pair of shoes, kind of plimsolls,
Yeah.
and 3 other pairs of boots.
okay. Does
Just-
that mean we missed someone? Insight?
You can roll inside.
Yeah. Like, is there another person? Because, like, say the person that we were chasing ran away quickly and didn't take their shoes. It's only 11. Is there another person
There's
here?
a barman.
Yeah, maybe it's the barman's shoes.
So you know you've got the barman.
Yeah.
You know you've got Bravis. You know
Yeah.
you've got Alander. There is a pair of shoes missing.
Okay.
But you are right in the fact that they ran away very quickly. Would they really have gone via the door to get their shoes?
Probably not. Cool.
What can you tell us about Rosset?
I guess I'll be explaining all of this to the authorities very shortly, so I may as well practice. He was a wood elf. Came through the door, didn't know what this place was, didn't know how doors worked, wasn't really sure what stairs were for. He was incredibly pleasant and very, very nervous. We didn't think we were going to have any trouble from him at all.
Did you talk to him at all?
Very briefly, he seemed quite happy to stay here. He was quite happy to give me all the money he had, but he seemed very misguided.
Would all sound like idiots.
Well, he had a certain folksy charm, but we try not to judge here. We get a lot of people come through here, you know, towards Shade Cap, so
And that's where he was going.
no idea where he was going. I don't think he knew. I'm not even sure how he made it all the way here, to be totally honest. He could have been picked apart by thieves or halfling, no disrespect intended, on the way here.
Did he spend any time in your bar?
I don't really know what he did. I spend most of my time out here.
Might be worth for you if we asked the barman. You knew him at all. Just go and do that.
Yeah, you wander into the bar, and the barman is still there. He was kind of sleeping. Slightly. Elves don't sleep. Meditating slightly on next to the bar, and then as you walk in, he kind of walks up. Oh, back for another drink?
Let's be honest, friend. We know all about everything that's happened upstairs.
Oh, that's good. What
Yeah.
happened upstairs?
You're okay. There was a wood elf who was staying here.
Yes. Ross something.
Yeah, left in a hurry. Did you talk to him at all?
Well, yeah. He asked for a drink, and I gave him a drink. He seemed very pleased by the whole scenario. Yeah.
Did he mention which way he was going?
No, he seemed very bewildered. Kept a bag on him all the time. He was very sensitive about that fact. I joked about it. Gave me a very strange look. That was all.
What was his drink?
He asked for a drink, and that was it. He seemed very perplexed when I gave him something that wasn't water. So it was a Miranor. It's a wine made close to the area. He seemed very fond of the stuff, actually.
Your suggestion, not his.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
It's quite common.
Smearless.
Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't be more help. Do you want a drink?
Yes, but I do. I'm fine. How about our other guests? Did you spend any time with the gnome or the other elf?
No, Lander was quite standoffish, quite rude actually.
This was the gnome.
No, an elven
Oh, okay.
chap. The gnome. Yeah, he was very frugal. Kept asking how much all the drinks were going to cost him. But
Yeah.
yeah.
You're gonna find he's gonna be a lot more frugal in the future.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, he lost a bet.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Don't often get gambling here. It's quite
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, it was exciting. Yeah. Thank you for your time.
Ah,
Appreciate
it's been wonderful to meet you all. Safe travels. You're going so soon. There are rooms you can stay.
it. No, thank you.
Well,
A bit mouldy.
are they? Well, we clean them very regularly. The steam, you see, you've got to clean them regularly to prevent the mold. So I find that very surprising.
You probably want to check out 2, 4, 3, whichever one it was.
Sure. Yeah, I'll check all the rooms. I'm very sorry to hear that.
It was unacceptable. Let's leave.
You leave. Are you leaving straight out the front door? You're kind of going out.
You're the leader of the group.
The de facto leader of the group.
Yeah.
Just pondering for a second.
Especially with that thing. Yes.
Yeah.
You've just got two meatheads.
Yeah, she's
The
pondering.
Always bloody thinking.
She's going to quickly tell the receptionist to tell Phineas we're heading northeast to catch us up.
Of course. Yeah, I'll tell him.
She's pondering for a moment as she's trying to work out which one of you has got a better chance of success on this. So she's really weighing. So she just asks broadly to the two of you in the end. Sort of as she's sort of walking, talking, circumventing around the building to where the window was, where obviously the escape happened. Can you find any tracks? She says broadly.
I'm going to dignify that with an answer. Caston, known for his tracking. And you have to ask.
It's kind of offensive, really. This guy, he'll do it.
He's going to double check that he is known for. What do you need tracked?
I can't believe you even asked him that. It's a really horrible thing to do.
Did you get my spec sheet from the Halfling Liberation Front? Do you know who you've hired here?
Sorry, Caston.
Were you doing like a little joke? It was like a little joke. Like,
Oh, a joke.
yeah.
Sorry, my humour has not been what it once was. What with dead family and all.
And the murdering.
And all the murdering. That's a joke.
Yes, he did a little bit though.
So, and she just sort of glosses over that and looks down, looks down at the floor where she expects some kind of, because there were hands in the walls on one side. She thought there might be some kind of indication on the other side that there'd be a thing.
It's a bit Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Do you want to track?
Yes. Shall I have a little check?
Absolutely.
I assume this is.
And are you looking for
Survival, I
Phineas, or are
guess.
you looking for something else? What's the kind of what's the vibe?
Well, I'm looking for whatever Elantrix wants me to look for.
What does Elantrix want him to look for?
Tracks.
Tracks.
Well, that's what I was going to
Just
look
generic tracks. And this is on the
I'm gonna
on the
look
inside,
for-
so in the steam room.
No, we're outside
You're
the
outside
building now.
of it.
for.
Yeah.
Look for generic tracks, but
Mm.
you know, I'm dialed in. I could probably find anything.
Okay. Particularly weird tracks.
Unusual tracks.
He's got a 12 on that one.
So you're on the outside of this window. This kind of like onion-shaped windows, if you like, and with a 12, you can see that something came through this window. This kind of grass. So there's there's this wooden veranda that runs around the outside of the building. You notice that there's the odd Hessian fibre here and there that you kind of notice lit on this path, and there's no kind of real indication that anything came through this window on the outside. However, as you look over the veranda, some of this just foot-long grass, or kind of foot to a metre, depending where you look, has been folded over on that side. Something's obviously vaulted over into the grass and then made a run for it. You very quickly, as you kind of look out through that kind of bended grass, it's dark, so it's actually night time. You can see kind of stars in the sky. It's still slightly warm. You're still in Golden Spell, but you can see down into a rocky valley. You start to see odd homesteads and houses lit up from Ranthari Prime. It's quite a distance away, to be totally honest. It'd be a few hours walk, you think, from where you are. And it's quite hard to look for tracks in the dark light. Think here and there you might see rocks moved out of place, kind of bended grass blades, but it's quite hard to track anything. More than the fact that it's dark than anything else.
I'll relay that. It's impossible, but I've tracked, and it's this way.
Okay.
Is it worth us taking a bit of a long rest out here and waiting for the sun?
Is there anywhere that looks vaguely restable, i.e. not just
Hotel?
completely exposed? That's the least restable place.
Yeah.
Yeah, you it's kind of this rocky, hilly environment all around you. So if you wanted to bed down, you could do if you really wanted to.
It's Golden Spell, right? So it's probably relatively warm.
It's relatively warm. You're literally right next to your trip, so it'd be quite obvious you're bedding down here because you'd have to break camp. So which would be fairly obvious to anyone wandering by.
We should probably make a bit of distance.
A little bit distance north, and then
My concern is the clearly just degrees that were only just down the road.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think staying off the path is better than
Yeah.
staying in the only obvious hotel on the way when there's been big sort of sporulated explosions and such.
Yeah. There's been some Batman-esque interrogation.
Yeah.
Nice. So you're gonna kind of wander off into the grass, into the hilly kind of rocky environment for a little bit.
Yeah.
Can you make me some kind of survival check? Somebody try and find a good place to bed down where you're not going to be seen from the road. It's not flat land like you've seen in most of the other lands. It's quite.
No, you go for it.
You're a master tracker.
It is a 17.
17, yeah. So you find a kind of rocky outcrop that kind of moves down vertically. It's a bit of a trade-off because if somebody was to encounter you, you'd have the lower ground, which would be a negative. However, you're pretty sure if you had a bed down in here, you wouldn't be able to see by the road, or the impending city from the bottom of the valley.
You're an elf, so you only need 4 hours, right? Yeah. So we'd have someone watching.
Cool. Who is going to take the first watch?
Felix will.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Felix
no
take the first watch.
As long as he's allowed to rest at the same time, it's up to you. He'll sleep up top.
You can do various activities while you're resting, as long as not strenuous. So while you'd be able to kind of take a watch
Yeah.
and do some level of resting, if something were to happen,
Yeah.
if you had to go and investigate something, you would break that. So
Sure.
it's a risk, is what I'll say.
Sure. He'll lie up on one of the rocks at the top
Yeah.
and at least watch.
Yeah, you're a small, relatively dark black
Yeah.
creature, so it's going to be hard to see you from a distance. You don't have night vision?
He does have dark
You
vision.
do have dark vision.
Yeah. Looking up at the azure sky as it moves through the night.
It's a beautiful night. There's no, other than the kind of lights you can see from the city, there's very little light out here, so it is a beautiful night to behold.
And there'll actually be a lot less light pollution out here than what he's used to.
Relative to
in
Aqua.
Aqua,
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
What are you guys doing to pass the night?
Elantrix will try and get her sleep in immediately, so then she can watch the 4 hours that follow.
And what does your nightly elven meditation look like? What do you do to pass the time?
She doths her armour,
Yeah.
which takes no small amount of time.
Yeah.
And then she probably reads what she'd written,
Yeah.
ponders it studiously, and lies down thinking about it until she drifts off.
Absolutely. Over to Caston, what are you doing? Anything in particular as you're kind of bedding down?
Just tying various knots.
Yeah.
And like working out new knots, sketching them in the ground with his little blade.
Absolutely. You have time to check that coin verse.
Oh yeah,
That you've been
we'll
carrying.
be doing that one.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which is roughly less than. Did you pay out of this coin purse?
So I paid out of the bounty that we had.
Cool. So you, in this coin purse, you find roughly, based on weight, 250 gold pieces. So this guy was carrying a veritable fortune.
that is not going to go well for us in the future. that is, I mean, because that's noteworthy, right?
That's a fair amount of cash. That's enough cash to live an aristocratic lifestyle for most of a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
While Elantrix is asleep, Caston's going to slip away.
New
yeah.
character.
Game over.
Yeah. So you would live, like an aristocrat for most of a year.
Wow, that is. If I was DM, that would be bad. We'll see how that goes. But you don't care about that stuff.
No, I don't keep track.
I bring this up the next day and say we're going to have to finish that person off. Because murder is less than grand theft.
You probably have to pay less than the money that you've just stolen.
Especially with the other body there, it looks a lot less suspicious
Just put them in the sea.
than someone who's going to describe us and what we stole.
You're literally in the Wild West now. Stuff like that happens all the time.
It's fine.
With that, we are going to take a short break. We're not going to take a 4-hour rest, so don't worry. It's going to be roughly 8 of your Earth minutes, because last time I said that, we were back in 6, so be vigilant. But it'll take roughly 8 minutes. Nothing burns like Wave Echo Cave.
Yeah.
We are back. The chocolate's gone. It's all over the place. It's on the table. It's gone. Oh.
Oh, that's not coming out, Jack.
Welcome back, everybody. You are bedding down for the evening. It's a lovely golden spell evening. The torches under the table. We've lost the chocolate.
Just bear with me. Don't worry about it. You crack on.
Get under the table. Well, you're the person who's awake. So
Close your legs.
Because Felix is under the table, we're just going to watch the other two sleep. They're having a lovely time.
Well, I'm sleeping in a 5-star hotel, like miles away.
All you can remember is those lovely warm beds, the steam room, and
I've
the
got a
hard,
silk turban on.
the hard floor that you're currently sleeping.
Yeah, there's chocolate and I don't know where it's gone.
It's probably under your socks.
I'll find it
It's
later.
not going to get warm enough to melt in here until summer.
Yeah.
Find it. It's all good.
So you're bedding down. You're taking watch. So you're looking up these stars. It's a beautiful starry night. You probably don't recognise all the constellations thinking about it because you grew up in Equa. You're a city boy. So you don't really know what you're looking at, but it's beautiful.
It's much bigger than he is.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. And yeah, he thinks about how big the world might actually be just outside of the city.
What do you think stars are?
Oh, that's a really good question. I'll have to refer to Jack. What's common knowledge of what the stars actually are?
Well, the Lantrix probably have a very different view. You spent a lot of time with a guy whose name I currently forget. The dwarf. Warwick. He was quite interested in such things. He might have passed on some wisdom.
Yeah.
In which case...
Well, I feel like Gorik's the kind of person, he's not going to name any names, but he probably lives in certain parts of the UK where it's reasonable to be like, oh, they're mystic star spirits.
Yeah.
Probably runs a shop that sells a lot of incense.
And crystals.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily believe anything he told me in that regard.
Okay. So in which case you've got no idea what they are.
Yeah.
But they're beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful to behold.
I wonder if they're like torches up there or something. Like, how close are they? Are they really big and far away, or really small, really close? He doesn't know.
You can't touch them, so
Yeah.
relatively far.
Spends an hour.
Yeah. He does howl at the moon a little bit.
How loud?
Ooh.
Very quiet.
Cooties at the moon.
Are you deliberately being quiet?
He is deliberately being quiet, yeah.
A couple of things will happen during your watch.
The moon attacks you.
Hands come out of it. It's very, it's a natural... Everything comes out of something in my campaigns. You notice that? The first thing that happens is you hear this kind of this rocky outcrop with bits of kind of crabgrass now. It's kind of this grass is fading into something that's relatively rocky. You do hear some movement. It's quite hard to know what it is, but your hearing's quite acute. But you do hear movement around you. It's a single thing scurrying about the place. It seems to be moving towards kind of city-wide, so you don't really know what distance that is, but towards the city, there's something moving around.
His gut feeling is it's the gnome. It's probably running away.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Could be. Unless you investigate it,
No, I mean, he needs to
it doesn't
rest.
sound outwardly threatening, right? It's not
Yeah.
prowling, it's something scuttering.
But it's not coming any closer to us.
It's moving around, but doesn't seem to be... It's not getting any louder.
Cool, he's going to let it pass by then, as long as it seems safe.
Yeah, no worries. Some time passes, and the night seems to pass on. And then can you make me a perception check, please?
It is 16 plus 3, 19.
Well, that's a good roll. Right out the kind of as far as your hearing will stretch, and something probably like you heard some kind of noise that alerted you to this, because you're quite glad for it, because you think it would have passed you by unless you were alerted to this noise. You hear voices, but they're incredibly faint. You probably wouldn't even have noticed, but you do hear some level of voices. And if you really strain your eyes, you look back towards the old trip. You see a small group of people. It's at quite a distance. It's hard to know who they are. It's hard to tell the distance. Probably 4 or 5 of them, and it's very dark. but they're moving under.
Well, within the inky black, can I tell if they're wearing white?
It's a safe bet. It's a grey. Everything's shades of grey.
Yeah, so he's on that. He'll at the very least give Elantrix a knock and let her know.
It's probably coming up to the 4 hour mark, so
Cool.
Elantrix is probably relatively roused already.
It's those elves have finally arrived. They shouldn't find us if we stay quiet, but just FYI.
She starts to don her armour, and she's still a little weary, even as an elf. So she doesn't really respond, but starts to put her clothes on and get ready for her watch.
What does Caston look like while he sleeps?
He just doesn't look like this.
Almost.
Can Phoenix see colour?
At all, yeah. You definitely can't during the dark.
No, it's very black and white during the dark. He can see colour, because he is not a dog.
Looks like a dog.
He looks like a dog and talks like a dog, but he is not a dog, so yeah, he can see colour.
Looks like a tiger, sounds like a tiger, looks like a tiger. It's going to eat you.
It's gonna eat you. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Cool, so he'll find a spot to crawl up then. And yeah, he literally wraps into like a bagel his shape and goes to sleep.
And you're quite happy to say you've just seen these elves. You don't feel
Well, he's
nervous
passed
about
the
that.
information on to Elantrix and
Yeah.
knows it's not his. It's,
You're quite happy.
you know where I am if you need me. As long as because we got a pretty decent distance.
Yeah, so
right?
you deliberately trekked out.
Yeah.
So,
We'll be alright. But yeah, if you need me, just tug on the old sword. I'll skip on top of that.
She smiles at him, but then goes to a similar position, probably to where he was.
He gives you like a weird, wonky face because he doesn't read subtext very well. So it's like, is that passive aggressive, or is she happy, or is she tired? Don't really know.
You hear these voices only because you're looking out for them. You hear these voices. There's a collection of people on the road. It's hard to determine any kind of action, what they're doing. They've not moved. They're kind of stood.
Are they by the
Yeah, they're
the building?
by the old trip. They're kind of stood around. They're obviously having a conversation. You will think back, and it's quite clear in your memory. They bedded down during the day, so they are, as far as you know, they're up. So you remember it was quite strange. They were setting up camp when you met them, which was during the day,
Yeah.
and they're obviously deliberately travelling by night for some reason.
Yeah. Okay. She just watches.
Continue to watch. They don't move for a significant period of time. Probably an hour passes, and they're having this conversation. It's hard to determine, even with kind of your elf eyes, it's hard to determine what's happening at a distance. It's hard to pinpoint each individual one, but there seems to be 5, 4. They do move around a fair amount, but that's it. When time passes, eventually they move on.
They don't go into the building. Right?
It's hard to tell, but they obviously don't stay. But you eventually see them move on, and they walk down the path. So they're walking down this pathway, at least the best you can see. Because it is so rocky, unless you deliberately move to track their movement, they'll soon disappear off as far as you can see.
Yeah, that's fine. She will let them.
For later on in your watch, again, you hear this rustling, this kind of movement from somewhere around you, towards the kind of city side of it. There's kind of a small valley that kind of drops down. At the foot of this kind of valley is this city that seems to fairly widely spread out. The starts to get brighter because golden spells are very long days, and it starts to get brighter. But you hear this kind of rustling about. That's all you hear, unless you deliberately go out
Near range.
It's hard to put a range on it. It's not close.
Can I make a perception?
Yeah, absolutely.
15.
Yeah, you'd say that it's definitely closer than arrow's distance. You know, you could shoot. You've seen arrows shoot and how far they can go. It's closer than that. So it's within kind of a run, if that kind of makes sense. You look, and because this craggy outcrop's hard to see, you don't see anything. There's something moving about out there. It's too big to be an animal, so it's probably a a person.
She'll try and stealthily pull Felix's sword.
Absolutely.
Valentine's Day special.
Valentine's Day special, everybody. Roll a d12 now.
He'll like yawn real heavily, a whole jaw full of teeth, and then just look at you, two brown beady eyes in the dark.
And then she's going to try to indicate to Wade Caston as well.
He sleeps with a crowbar in his hand.
Yeah. Have we,
Felix will tap the crowbar with a sword.
I guess we've had a long rest now, haven't we? So is that
Yes,
right?
that is the morning comes up. You
Yeah.
have had your long rest. Please feel free to get all the benefits of a long rest.
Yay.
My good friend Elantrix, can you roll a Constitution saving throw for me?
Oh no. You did.
10.
Immediately you start to wheeze and you start to have this sensation that you just have to clear something out your throat. At first it's just a wheeze, you think nothing of it, and it does kind of just bite a little bit. After that happens, it seems to pass and there's no ill effect.
She's concerned about that, but she doesn't say anything.
You're in pretty good health, so it's unusual. It's not like you've smoked a pipe every day of your life.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, she directly correlates the spores to the
Why
cough.
would you do that?
Many wouldn't in
Yeah.
D&D, but
No.
Elantrix does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you hear the scrabbling around.
It's
But
out of the game.
also, the sun has come up, so everything it's immediately apparent where you are. You're in kind of a rocky ravine that kind of drops all the way down to the city. The city's still a few hours walk away. It is on the distance of your kind of your view. But yeah, you can see some of these patches of grass. You realise that you picked a pretty good area, Caston, so well done. It's definitely out of sight from the road.
He's not surprised.
But yeah, you hear this scrabbling around, and you can see a lot more of the place around you. You can still see your trip, this big onion-shaped building.
We ignore the scrabbling around and just...
That's fine.
That's a lie.
No, but there's no more elves, right? They moved on.
They moved on, and it's hard to see the road from where you are. You can see all of the city. This expanse opens up above you, and you can see.
We should keep our eyes peeled. I don't want you run up on those guys again.
And she just indicates to listen.
Not quite.
You hear a shuffling. Still there. It doesn't. It's not making a beeline to you. There is some kind of moving around out there. Again, much as I explained to Antrix, it's probably easy now you're listening for it. It's something quite big, which makes it probably bigger than most mammals in the area, like most animals in the area. It's likely to be a person.
You want to go up center and we'll flank?
She's thinking. She's taking her shield out and checking her spell book. So that's a sign.
Cast Ray of Death.
Scrabble around.
Yeah, you could just burn all the grass away and find the creature.
Okay. She's not going to cast anything.
All of a sudden,
Oh,
okay. You're about to immediately do something.
yeah. I mean, he was going to turn to the group and be like, "Well, if you haven't got a strategy, I've got a strategy." But then all of a
And
sudden,
all of a sudden,
Yeah.
the scrabbling seems to stop. And it's quite loud, and then it stops.
do we have a feel for the direction that this is coming from?
Now you do. You think just below this ravine, there's
Yeah.
kind of a rocky outcrop. You're pretty sure that the stop happened behind that raggy.
Yeah.
Something's now probably within 30 feet of you.
Cool. Right, I will go left, you go right. Elantrix, you go down the middle, you use your big shield, see what the hell this is. Don't kill, just try and capture if possible. Sound good? Sweet. Let's do that.
You head down, so you kind of flank around this thing. Who goes around first?
Not Elantro's.
Not Elantrix.
Felix will take.
Felix takes point.
Yeah.
You pop round then, Felix, and there's sudden movement from behind this rocky outcrop.
He instantly regrets not communicating any signals or anything. He's just like, oh, there's some more planning I could have done.
You look round, and at first you think there's a halfling, but actually the more you quickly look, and there's a sudden shock from this creature, and it's a small boy, probably human. You don't know ages, you probably not aware of such things, but they're not particularly old, and they have the front of their shirt kind of folded up, and they're holding it, and there's something kind of bulging. They're carrying something, and they've folded their shirt.
Okay.
They look at you and kind of look a little shocked.
Yeah, so he'll drop his sword, and drop down onto 4 legs, and kind of feign being a dog.
Yeah, performance check, I guess.
Yeah. It's kind of his go-to if he wants to kind of de-escalate a situation. Not amazing. 7 + 4.
7 + 4, which is maths 11. I'm sorry, sir. You a dog?
I mean, he'll just say nothing, and just kind of walk on a little bit closer and just kind of look up. In his head, he's like, "Pretty sure dogs can't speak."
Oh my! I saw you walking there, and maybe I'm losing my mind.
What's the bag look like?
He's just got his front of his shirt folded up. He's carrying something.
Carrying stuff in his shirt.
It's in his shirt. He's obviously been collecting something in his shirt that's kind of upturned. He's not carrying a bag, but it's obviously just a way of carrying stuff.
Cool. He's gonna have paw.
Yeah.
Just, sort of. It's the universal sign of "come pet me."
Yeah. He seems a little frightened. You're carrying a sword, right? Or did you drop it?
Was carrying a sword.
So you dropped it. Yeah. This boy's a little afraid of you. It is a boy. He's a little afraid of you, and he kind of jumps back. At this point, I assume Caston makes his way around the other side of this.
Intent to kill.
Intent to kill.
Intent to at least
Just
knock
axes just spin.
You can do that if you want.
He's not gonna. He's I assume I can see the situation.
Yeah, you can see the situation. This boy's very much distracted with
Got
this dog man who's just appeared.
I've got a boomerang sort of like ready to go.
Unless you obviously make a noise, it's going to be really easy to sneak up on this kid. Because it's up to you, really.
I'm seeing how the dog's going to play this out.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see what's in his shirt, if it's gold coins or anything like that.
It's hard to tell. Lumpy. That's all you can tell. Elantrix will make their way around. You can kind of join as and when you want.
All right. Shillam Hedge.
Yeah.
Oh, there you are.
Immediately when he hears that, the boy jumps, and as he jumps, his shirt folds down, and a collection of kind of foliage and mushrooms kind of drop out from his shirt. These obviously been foraging for. Oh my lady, I didn't mean to be out here. I was just looking for food. That's all.
Where did you get those mushrooms?
We collect them off the hill here. There's not a lot to eat down in the districts.
Can I see them?
You can see whatever you want, lady. I honestly I didn't take anything. It's all just available here.
She wants to just have a look at them and see if there's any. Do they look like normal mushrooms or weird magical growth mushrooms?
That's a really good question. You take a look. A lot of them, you can roll a nature check. Mushrooms are mushrooms, right? It's
16.
16. It's hard to tell. You don't really collect edible mushrooms, but you've been out on the road a fair amount. You've probably eaten forage materials before, and they seem like edible mushrooms, but some of them you can't place.
She bends down, just pats Felix.
There's like one Lonely Island song. I just keep thinking, we're on shrooms. They're not those.
To your knowledge.
Yeah, to our knowledge. Yeah, so Felix will just keep feigning being a dog, probably make life a bit easier for the time being.
I can just run home right now. I don't want to cause any trouble.
There's no trouble.
Good. I just feel like I might be in trouble. That's all. And that's all we need right now.
Why would you be in trouble?
Well, I don't know what you're doing out here. I honestly, I just pick them from. We pick them when we can. I try and
You can pick
support
them.
my power as much as I can.
You can pick them. You're only in trouble if you have a reason to be in trouble.
It's
And I assume you don't.
not as far as I know. I mean, I can go right now. I don't even need them.
Keep them.
He just like trying to pick up these mushrooms again. He's just kind of like collecting them in his shirt.
Here. She gives him just one of her rations. Just to take this.
That's very kind of you, my lady. I don't have anything to give you in return, but my family live down in the district. It won't be to your liking, but you're welcome whenever.
Thank you. How would we find your family?
We live down in the districts. I'm Greb. It's wonderful to meet y'all.
And you, Greb.
Thank you. He's speaking. I should have made this clear originally. He's speaking the common tongue.
Okay. Is he human?
He's human.
Yeah. Yes. As you were.
He will like just back away. He noticeably backs away. He never shows his back to you at any point. You don't know if that's out of respect or fear, but he never really shows his back to you. And as soon as you see him slip behind a rocky outcrop, you hear a run. Like he's obviously legging it. He has no idea what to make of that.
Okay.
But yeah, he will go unless you deliberately stop him anyway. He'll run away.
It's so damn uncomfortable to walk like that. Down, have a stretch, pick up the old sword. It's a little boy just coming out here getting some mushrooms. What does that mean?
I think he was a little boy coming out here and getting some mushrooms.
Mental. It's a crazy place.
Well done for not stabbing him.
You look harmless. He wasn't on my list. It's my new side goal.
Side plot.
Okay, we go to the city, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, still a little bit concerned about the old dog face. I have really no way of covering this up.
Do you have a razor?
I assure you, it would be worse if I were to do that.
When you said that, what Caston's thinking is that we go back and we razor the gnome's face off the gnome. And that's what he's like.
John Travolta it.
He's thinking like he's impressed with your like,
Yeah.
wow. That's harsher than I was thinking.
Didn't peg her for the type.
Yeah, exactly.
Felix, yeah, wakes
feel
up,
like I'm on
wakes
the
up as
right-
Nicolas
the right
Cage.
gang all of a sudden.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I guess you're a dog.
Someone's going to have to carry this sword then. It's pretty heavy.
She looks at Cast.
Right, I can add it to my list of great weapons.
Grazie. That's Elven.
Certainly is. So you look down. I mean, so you can see this city kind of below you in this valley. A couple of things hit you immediately. One is the fact that it, as has been alluded to already, it seems to be separated into two sections, if you will. There is a walled section that's kind of far off to your kind of left-hand side, which makes it more northern. And if you really, really stretch your vision, this walled section ends and it goes. There's this kind of a rolling green field, which is quite unusual now that there's this green field. And there's kind of trees and things, and then there is some kind of large building. Looks like a keep up on a hill. further south of this kind of walled area that looks like a walled city, relatively small if you used to Equa, but it's still a city nonetheless, there is a collection of buildings that kind of seem disparate, if that makes sense. They're not kind of in ordered city-like districts. They're kind of almost like a collection of buildings together in a random order. However, there's something quite specific. As you can kind of just peep your head over this rocky outcrop, you can see a path that leads through this kind of shanty town, I guess, this collection of buildings. But there's that road stretches on, keeps stretching on up into the northeast until you lose it behind these rocky outcrops. But there's some kind of long structure that runs alongside that road that you can't quite make out, but it does run all the way up to the northeast as long as you can see. If you were to walk straight down this hill, you would end up in kind of that shanty town. It would be a difficult descent. You'd kind of be falling over yourself to get there because it gets quite steep. If you were a mountain goat, or if you'd lived here your entire life, it'd probably be quite easy. But it is kind of a rocky outcrop. You could skirt back through to the road and have a relatively easy climb. Other than that, you won't pick out or do whatever you like. But that's kind of what you see in front of you immediately.
The body, sounds strange to say, the body told me that the stone did this. A green swirling stone carried by the wood elf. We might not even need to get to the other side of the wall if we can find it here. This might be the shrine.
Or at least we know what we're looking for. We're looking for a wood elf. They're not that common around here.
No. If you were a wood elf, where would you go?
Trees.
And you mentioned there were trees.
Yeah, on there's kind of this walled area of the city, the kind of city proper, if you like. Beyond that, there's kind of a green expanse. Even from this distance, it looks out of place, fairly ordered. At the far end of that, almost as far as your eyes can see, there's this kind of keeps building. It seems to be built on some kind of defensible hill.
Based on everything that the gnome said, it sounded like he wasn't from here. So I would probably check the shiny town first, because I don't think he's going to be up in the big old castle if he doesn't know where he is.
That's the most sensible thing you've said all day, Felix.
I'm chief investigator, and he like readjusts a tie that's not there.
Casson, if we can try not to kill and steal everything here.
This. And he's waving the sword around. It looks so good to kill with.
It's got a picked end as well, so like you can really stick that in something.
I'll be keeping it safe for you.
Appreciate it.
Just a thing that'll get us arrested.
He's going to show a hammer.
We build some buildings.
Put the hammer back.
The hammer can both make things and break things.
Poetic weapon.
It's the poet's weapon.
So we head to where the trees are, or we head to the shanty town?
I don't really want to go on that main road. I'm a little bit concerned about those elves. We could rope down here, where we are right now. It's steep, but we'd be safe if we just be laid down.
How obvious would roping down? I mean, would it look absolutely ridiculous, or are we obscure enough?
Yeah.
It's a rocky out.
It's a really prominent way to enter an area that you're trying to stay kind of low profile on.
Yeah.
Can we base jump? Do you have any way to base jump?
It'd be hard to enter. Somebody will see you. It's a city, right? So somebody's going to see. No matter which way you attack it, somebody's going to see you eventually.
I do a good idea, and then I do a bad idea. It's really difficult.
You could wait until nightfall and try and sneak it. You can do all kinds of stuff, but people are going to see you enter. There's just too many people around. To your knowledge, you still probably, like I say, a few hours trek away from this place.
We can go down. I just want to avoid people on the road.
It's going to be like I say, a significant scramble to get down this way. It'll probably take you a bit longer. You'd be a bit more cautious. It might be obvious either way.
It's your call. It's your call.
It was the more fun route. That's what we're here for, right?
Caston, what do you want to do?
I would climb down,
Fine.
but we're all not as great a warriors as I imagine.
I'm pretty strong for my size.
Okay. Then we do it.
We got
How are we for rope?
magic that takes you down by chance?
No.
I think we get a feather fall down.
I used to know a gnome that had these hats.
Yes.
They had little propellers on them.
Cool. Felix has got 50 feet of hempen rope, so he's going to tie that round his waist, and yeah, start setting up a belay setup. He's got pitons as well, so and a hammer. I don't know where he keeps all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, Lemtrix has none of this stuff.
But if we've got,
she has got a rope. Yeah, she has got a
if
rope.
we've got pitons and you've got rope, we got
I've got a
rope.
rope, and that's and a hammer.
Yeah. I've recently done a podcast spree of people dying on Everest, so
It's not that steep.
that's on
Yeah, it's
my
not, it's, not,
mind.
it's not that steep.
Yeah. We've got to turn back.
So you start effectively scrambling down. It's not sheer, so you won't need to like climb, but there are bits of it that will be kind of a 15-foot climb down drop. You guys are adventurous, so you know you're relatively world weary. You've kind of seen this kind of stuff before. You've had a night out under the stars, which again you're used to, so you're not feeling super tip top. And then you've got this kind of schlep down the side of a rocky outcrog, so it's not a wonderful start to the day. And you haven't even had breakfast yet.
Well, if Felix is going to have a ration hanging from a rope at one point.
Yeah, you can do that.
On your
Yeah, you can start eating.
It's hungry work.
That being said, FYI ration-wise, you've spent a day out of Spare Casa, so you are starting to eat stuff. So please make a note of said things.
And I've given one to a boy.
Yeah, and you've given one to avoid willy-nilly. But you are starting to schlep down the side of this thing. As that happens, you get closer and closer and closer, and you start to pick out in particular details. You see that this town below, this shanty town, is made up of kind of mud houses, wooden houses. There's some stone houses, but they don't seem to be in any particular order. They're kind of just gathered around. They kind of make collections and groups, and there's kind of streets made almost by accident. And there's one major street that seems to run straight through the middle of it, straight line up into this walled city, and the rest of it seems kind of discarded. And you get a little bit closer, and this road that seems to run through the shanty town, which is probably the horse you rode in on, if you like, the road you came in on, goes straight through and out the other side and goes right into the northeast, and you lose it in Sauerkrag. There's a wooden structure that runs kind of further than the northern side, the left-hand side for you guys, of that road that just travels along it straight as an arrow as it travels up the northeast. And it's kind of a wooden built structure. It isn't livable, it's some kind of weird wooden structure. But yeah, unless you choose to do anything else specifically or look for anything specifically, you can just climb right down into that. You'll be in the thick of this kind of collection of houses.
When we get to the point when we're like 50 foot from hitting hard ground, Felix will keep his eye out for anywhere that seems not like an actual cave, but that they could use as somewhere they could stay overnight. Basically, they could set up a fire and they could always rope up to it. You know,
somewhere like you can hide out from.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you'll probably be able to find one. If you make a note of it, you'll probably be able to find somewhere within this rocky outcrop. And you can't guarantee you wouldn't be seen because there's a lot of people. Is what you're noticing.
Well,
it's quite
being
busy.
seen's fine, but being hard to access is probably
and you definitely would find you could find somewhere defensible on the side of this.
There is currently an abseiling dog.
It is
Descending.
gaining some attention. You all are. There's a collection of people, and yeah,
Atlantrix is already.
Yeah, it's not lost on you the
Yeah.
fact that this is happening,
Yeah.
and you do start to slowly see a small group of people gathering as they're watching you kind of abseil and move and climb down the sides.
Well, he's going to leave his last 50 foot of rope and he's just going to free climb the last 50 foot in a sweet pit on, like hand axey kind of like way.
As you get closer, you notice the vast majority of people here are human, of varying ages, of varying genders, and the one thing that unifies them is they're pretty low status. Not universally, but most people are wearing earthy tones, kind of rough-hewn clothes, and they don't seem to be a militant group at all. They're kind of a collection of peasantry, basically, and they're all just watching you climb down the side of the hill. And the kind of a group of about 50 people kind of appears after a while, all kind of watching you, and particularly children, and kind of gathering and giggling.
Yeah.
But they're all kind of watching you climb down. They're a hardy group, is probably the best way to describe it. They're relatively strong looking, probably through hard wear more than anything else. There is an obvious view of distrust looming over what's happening. There's a couple of halflings there, so it's not unusual to see the odd halfling. But nothing elven strikes you of any of the group, not even half elven. Yeah, they're definitely human and halfling. You can hear mutterings and talking as you kind of get to the bottom.
I'm just sort of shaking her head.
She first or last down? What was she?
She's last down.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Cool. So Felix is like, he'll land on the floor and be like, and I'm a dog.
You can hear kids talking like
Yeah.
that dog just climbed out a rope. First time I ever seen a dog climb down anywhere.
Scratching behind his ear.
It's a circus dog, she shouts down.
Immediately as you talk, you notice some of the people immediately disperse and they kind of disappear. A couple of the hardier looking guys are kind of staying there. They're looking at you kind of distressfully, but not disrespectfully. You hear odd mutterings and talking, but nobody talks to you immediately. Some of the kids are giggling. Circus though, I ain't no circus, man. You haven't seen a circus around here in a long time. You know, a circus, you know, the gnome things. They come over here every now and again. Never made it past the gate the last few years.
Are we all down now?
All down.
Don't be afraid. She's down.
A voice, you don't know where it comes from, but a voice does come out from the crowd. And you do hear say, "We haven't been afraid of anything like you for a long time."
I'm pleased. We are friendly.
Felix has found a piece of hay from somewhere. Got in his mouth. I'm one of you.
You hear another voice. It gets hard to. There's a group of people. Some have dispersed. There's probably about 30 odd people here. You hear another voice kind of come from the crowd. Say, "You guys looking to stick around here, or are you just passing on?"
We're just passing through. On our way to the northeast.
Hell of a way.
We met a kind boy. Greb.
I know, Greg.
She just sort of scours to see if he's over there anyway.
You don't immediately see him. You looking for him?
Yes.
He do something to you?
No.
He in trouble?
No.
You sure?
Yes.
You hear like a collection of muttering in the crowd, but you can't hear anything else. I can show you to his pa, but I sure as hell ain't showing you to him.
He offered us a place to stay.
He did he? Offered you a place to stay.
Yes.
Well, damn. Well, that kid's gonna get himself in a whole heap of trouble.
How's the relationship here?
Relationship? What are you talking about? I don't know what that means.
Are there any of you in there?
You referencing towards the wall.
Yeah.
They don't let people like us in there.
None at all?
Not to my knowledge. We do the work, that's all. A lot of work to be done.
Well. We're just passing through.
Hang on a minute. What's that you wearing? You an organ, no?
Yes.
Oh, damn. Why didn't you say so? There I am coming across all frosty-like. A lot of the people start dispersing at this point. We don't get many of your types around here no more. You're not going to the northeast as much as you used to.
No, that's right. Have you seen... Do you know our story?
Well, yeah, we heard it from time to time. You don't seem as bad as the rest of them is all. And you take our kind too, which is mighty nice of you. A couple of guys from here have gone up, joined Spitacasa themselves to look for a better life, you know? You seem to live a lot better than we do, that's for sure.
Well, we're always recruiting.
Well, maybe I'll think about it.
Did you enjoy living here?
The work's good and a lot of food.
Well, that's better than most.
Yeah, some of us ain't good enough to travel is all, and we gotta look after our own, you know?
Yes. Well...
Maybe I'll show you to Greb's pa and you can sort it out with him.
Sure.
It's a relatively big guy who's talking to you, and the hostile look that the group seem to have is kind of dispersed as soon as they realise that. They don't seem particularly bothered about you two. A dog and a halfling's kind of pretty normal around here, so they're not particularly worried about it. They seem to have immediately forgot the fact that you abseiled down the side of a cliff.
It's a circus dog.
Yeah, it's a circus dog. That seems fine. So this relatively big guy starts walking. As he starts walking, obviously expecting you to follow him. Unless you do anything else, you'll just continue to walk.
Yeah, well, I assume we'll follow.
Yeah, and he walks over to...
Sorry, is there anything to suggest what the hell these people do for a living?
It's a really good question.
While Felix may not be talking, he is looking.
You look around and it's kind of hard to see. There's nothing immediately that strikes you out as like an industry, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Small fish dirt people.
Small fish dirt people. As you look around, there's bits and pieces of things. So there's the odd forge, for example. There's people obviously work fires. There's a tannery, you can tell by the stink. There's a collection of kind of weavers kind of making baskets. So they're making materials, but there's no like one industry, if that makes sense. Doesn't seem to be a huge amount of, for example, farming or anything like that. There's not huge bags and bags of grain or big open tracts of fields or anything like that. But there's a lot of kind of low-level, low-income industry.
Just carts full of mushrooms.
Yeah, you can smell bits of food here and there. It's kind of mid-morning by this point, so nobody's really eating breakfast. It's kind of over. People are about work, so that's how you can see all this stuff. You get a few odd looks as you're walking through. That's kind of all you get. This big guy just walked through quite a lot of this area, and he's kind of absent-mindedly talking, almost like he's giving you a tour as he's going through. And he says odd things like... a good one would be, if I can find the right tab, which I can. Most people call this area the districts, but actually its real name's Brightfield Districts. It's kind of where we live. But I'm going to show you to a place that it's a little peculiar if you haven't been this way before, so I apologise in advance, but we call it Trader's Mile. And he's kind of going up. Greg's pa normally hangs out here most of the time, which is funny because I guess it don't affect him like it does the rest of us. And he keeps walking, and out of this path that runs straight through what he just called Brightfield or the districts, you start getting a look at this wooden structure. And depending how you feel about such things, it it may affect you in different ways, but you notice that this wooden structure is actually almost like a walkway or a plinth. And it's raised off the ground, and you realise that they're gallows. But they stretch on forever. They just keep going along this path, and they just keep going and going. They're old, really old. They're older than a lot of the buildings you see around here. The closest ones to you are relatively well kept, they're well oiled, and they're maintained in some way. But you don't know if that's true further afield. You see some that are kind of missing rope, that they're kind of weathered the further you look. But definitely the first 20 are very well kept and well hewn. He just shows you, and he's walking towards them. As you get closer and closer, you realise sat on the end of one of these wooden planks is there's a man sat there in rough-hewn clothes, just sat on the end of what this person's just described as Traitor's Mile. Well, this is him, the very man himself. This is Greb's pa. The other gentleman doesn't really say anything immediately. He kind of moves his head slightly to one side, but he isn't looking. Grogan, looks like you got guests, friend. You hear a voice come back, and he says, "Well, I wasn't expecting any guests today, that's for sure. Who are you all?"
We're Augurs of Now.
Orcus, come to visit me. Oh damn, what's going on then?
There's been reports of strange activity up here in the northeast.
Right.
If you know anything of us, you'll know that's what we're looking for.
Am I in trouble?
No, we found your son, and he offered to... He was picking mushrooms, and he offered us a friendly welcome if we came.
He in trouble?
No.
Well, I can show you back to my place as long as nobody's going to cause any trouble now. We're good people. We try and keep to ourselves.
Yes, we can see that.
You notice this bigger man goes up to what he's referred to as Traitor's Mile, this kind of huge wooden plinth, and he actually helps the other man down. You notice as you see him that his eyes are white. You can't see, but he's obviously blind. So he gets helped down from this plinth, and he begins walking fairly confidently on his own, and obviously knows the direction he's going in. How many of you are here? Who am I talking to?
Well, there's I, an Augur, Elantrix.
Elantrix. It's mighty fine to meet you.
I'm Caston. I ain't no Augur. But I'm
Caston?
helping out.
Nice to meet you, Caston.
And we have our pet with us also.
A pet?
Say hello, Felix.
I'm Felix, a businessman.
That's a strange accent you got there, friend.
I come from afar.
It's good to meet you, Felix. Why do these guys call you a pet? Is that some kind of quirk that I'm not aware of?
They find us business folk very strange.
Well, I'm a little bit worried that you won't like our place, but you're very welcome.
She's got it.
Very high standards.
She's just going to cantrip message into your head. I was expecting a bark.
You can't hear what I'm thinking.
I think I can actually on message.
Yeah, you can message back.
I've gauged this wrong.
I'm gonna distract him with a question. So, what would get a man swinging around here?
You can reply.
Well, you know those elves, they like to keep order, don't they? And these gallows, they've been here as long as I've been here. They've stretched on right on this horizon there. Obviously, this is the path to Shadecap. It wasn't always that the Elven Kingdom exported the people they didn't like. Sometimes they just strung them up.
Elves.
Yeah, tell me about it.
When did they last string somebody up?
Well, these ones closest to us, they're still in use.
Humans only?
Well, I suppose not specifically, but yeah. Halflings as well, of course.
What is your core economy here?
Kind of what now?
As a businessman, I am purely only interested in business. What do you do and export?
Well, the money ain't great, that's for sure, but yeah, we do whatever we can to make a living. What they do beyond the wall, that's their business, but they seem to do pretty well out of it. And then there's the Duke, of course. Yeah, I can't say a bad word about him, otherwise I'd be swinging myself, wouldn't I?
Who would be listening to such words?
Son, when you can see as good as I can, you make sure to watch every word you can.
A beautiful play on words.
Well, hell, we best make it back to the place. There's no good shooting it out right here. He will continue, he'll lead the way. He's obviously listening out for footfall, for people moving. He occasionally stumbles, but he's...
Counting the number of feet on the floor.
Yeah, he seems to be moving. Like, yeah, he's obviously he's listening out, but he's also, he's obviously remembering footfall, so he's kind of remembering the path back, if that makes sense. And you'll notice as he gets closer to Brightfield, and as he starts moving around Brightfield, he does occasionally pull a hand out, and as he does, he'll touch the corner of a building or something. He's obviously remembering the path back to the house. People talk to him as he goes, and actually, there's obviously a community here. People do offer him a hand, and they might walk with him a few steps and kind of point the direction, or at least show him the direction he's going in. But he seems fairly confident to get back to the house. Eventually, you get back, you kind of get brought to a series of wooden buildings that are all built up to each other. The walls are kind of not apart, they're kind of almost an array of houses. He feels his way along kind of a wooden trellis that marks the outside. And you're kind of interested to see things are growing on this trellis. There's kind of a vine that grows across it, and there's the odd berry here and there, and that's obviously been picked.
Is this like mostly a dust bowl?
Yeah, mostly. There's not much vegetation or anything like that. There's a few things that are deliberately grown. So a few people are growing little crops and little collections of personal goods, if that makes sense. But it's not in any ordered structure, like little allotments almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's mostly, like I say, it's a dust bowl.
So the economy's still not entirely clear to us. And Felix, our businessman.
Like I say, these people obviously scratch a living off making or fixing or moving things around, but there's no kind of major economic industry here. Interestingly, if you are interested in economics, there's no water or river or canal, which would mean that this place is fairly isolated.
Yeah.
It's quite unusual to see such a big collection of buildings and not have any way of exporting things quickly.
Do you still see wells, I assume?
There's wells and there's kind of water that's available,
Yeah.
but like trade routes and things aren't obvious.
Yeah.
They would have to use the road, which is very well looked after, so that kind of makes sense.
Cool.
But yeah, eventually you make it back to what can only be described as a wooden hovel, really. It has no door on the outside, it kind of has a shift that keeps the outside out. And he kind of moves this curtain aside and kind of says, well, you're very welcome to come in. I don't think Greb's going to be around for a little while. He'd probably be out looking for food, but you're very welcome. He turns his hand to anything, that boy. I'm bloody glad to have him, if I'm totally honest. He walks into this building. There's not a lot there. It's dirt floor. There's a single bed that's fairly large, wooden hewn, but fairly large and straw. There's a collection of like personal items, but they're kind of like cooking pots and various bric-a-brac, really. There's nothing of any real value here.
If someone was looking for somebody here, where might one start?
You just ask somebody. Most people know everybody around here. They know the business. It travels pretty quick. Why? Who are you looking for?
A wood elf.
Wood elf.
We
Around here.
believe they came through recently.
Heard nothing like that, and I would have heard it. Wood elf coming all the way out of here. Are they on the way to Shadecap, maybe?
Perhaps.
Road's not been frequented that much recently. We had a group of elves come in late last night, but nothing much of that.
Did they pass straight through?
We thought they were going to, made to actually. They must have thought different of it. They went up to the what we call the Bright Gate.
If one wanted to purchase or deal in trinkets, is there anyone around here I could do that with?
Trinket?
For I am a businessman and I like to do important, expensive businesses.
Trinkets are like a
Jewelry,
jewelry. Yeah, you'll find it up in the
shiny
city.
stones,
You find it up in Renthor proper, surely. Yeah, up there.
but not down here.
Hey, we make what we can.
Okay.
We need to find a lead on this Rosset.
That's their name, huh? Rosset?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I can spread the word, but we haven't seen anything like that come through here.
And you're quite sure there's no way somebody could get in the city without you knowing?
Well, the wall will keep most people out of Renthar proper, and if they were going to go anywhere else, they would have come here. If they went straight up the road, we would have seen them come through. It's pretty hard to hide around here. There's not a lot of nooks, crannies, places to go, so pretty certain they wouldn't have passed through here. That being said, things ain't exactly been normal recently. There's been a lot of tension up in Renthar Prime, and we haven't seen the Duke in a little while. He goes through these periods, you know. I remember when I was a boy, there was some kind of altercation he had, and he disappeared for a long period of time. And we were all a bit frightful he was going to go through one of his moods again, you know.
That would be bad for business.
Well, if one were to find somebody heading northeast and they didn't go through this area, what other options do they have?
Well, there's not many that are known officially. There's the northeastern pass that will take you Trader's Mile directly to the gate. That's where everybody goes. Nobody goes any old routes anymore. There was the pass to the north that definitely used to exist, but nobody's been down there for years. I don't even remember where it comes out. I haven't been in there since I was a boy, but there's a cave structure up there as far as I remember. Other than that, it'd be the mountain pass, and it's further south. That's been unsafe for years. The elves don't even...
Oh, goodness.
Subscription for...
Thank you very much!
I missed the name,
Just
as we always say. Thank you
subscribe.
for the subscription.
Thank you very much. But that would be the mountain pass. It's unsafe. We don't even know if it's still standing. Nobody can even make it down there. Strange animals, weird noises. People say that it used to be the old Dwarven Pass. That's the old legend. That's kind of the only three ways out of here, really. You come into Renthar Prime, you're either going to Shadecap or you're heading back to Aqua.
Dwarves, you say?
Well, that's the story, yeah.
Well, what's your opinion on dwarves?
Yeah, I don't think dwarves exist. There's an old story my granddad used to tell me, and I don't really think that any of that really happened.
Please, tell us.
Barely remember it. There's, yeah, they say there's dwarves in the mountains. You trek far enough south, you'll be able to see them. Apparently there's a pass that ranks up there, but of course there's a there's a huge canyon that stretches for miles, and trekking down it's kind of perilous to death. Nobody's done it in my lifetime. Allegedly there's this pass, but I ain't seen it, and I hear people talk about it every now and again. People say, particularly when they had a run-in with Renthar himself, that yeah, maybe they'll head down that way, see if they can find it, but nobody ever has.
And presumably these passes to the north and the south, they're not the kind of place that a person would be to just stumble upon.
No, not really. Caves up north, yeah, hell, they're pretty big, but nothing to drive you in there unless you were deliberately looking for something. You know, most of the areas the elves keep are fairly tame now, and the only thing that really stays alive is in caves or in canyons or something like that, so most of us try and stay away from them when we can. Of course, I haven't been able to see for damn near 5 years, so hell if I know if anything's changed.
What do you think, my business associates?
I think it is geographically interesting.
Lovely little dead spot here. I like it here. Then we just stay here. We got enough to live here comfortably.
Well, if you listened to the stories of the augurs,
I thought, didn't we come across the end already? Wasn't it? The weird mushroom man exploded. The end of the world will be pussy and horrible. Can't we stay away from that?
I agree that the man, realising someone else just stood there,
He pulls a small clay pipe out at this point and
Yeah.
lights something kind of brown and sticky, kind of like a rudimentary tobacco, and does actually light it with a small tinderbox he has on his person. And he's obviously interested in what you're talking about, but trying not to allude to the fact he's listening.
If I am going to further my business interests, I'm going to need to get into Renthari proper.
okay.
You'll need the Bright Gate for that. They'll check you on the way in.
What are they going to check for?
Well, your ears will be a start.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean.
I don't know, they're a little bit more lenient than they used to be, but things have been a little bit weird recently. I mentioned the Duke going through one of his moods. Everyone's kind of worried he's going to... You know, he has these strange interests.
How many guards are there on the gate by night?
Enough.
You know, how many is enough?
Now, you're an interesting fella, I'll give you that, but it probably count to you that I don't count so well these days.
Yeah, it's just there's no such thing as a gate I cannot get through. Just a question of what weight it is going to cost me in my wallet.
Oh, you want to buy yourself in? Yeah, sure as hell you could probably do that. Everyone speaks money around here.
Buy my way in with a blade.
Definitely would have heard that.
This is under his voice.
Thought you guys were Orgas, no? You sound like mercenaries to me.
A financial mercenary.
These are my guard. I am the
Nice.
augur.
We're
I
helping
see.
you all this.
Sorry.
Yeah, our guards have financial interests.
Yeah, it's good for you to know. It's good to meet good folk in times like this.
What's your story?
Not much of it to tell. Live all my life here.
How did you lose your eyesight, if you don't know, do not mind me asking?
I don't know, I just started going blurry about 5 years back. Lost it over time.
And what did you do for a job?
I can't work.
What did you do for a job?
I was a tinker, best. I could fix things, pots, pans, armor. If you're lucky, you can get the work. People traveling through. A lot of people traveled towards Shadecap. They had things they needed fixing before they got there. Probably thinking they were going to get stabbed in the gut. So, yeah, you were lucky. Guard caravan passes through. Awful lot of work comes with it. You got a couple of work out of Renthari Prime and Renthari proper if people want to save money on things, fixing garments, that kind of thing. But yeah, mostly it was metal work.
Well, I'm sad to hear that. And he's going to put a paw. I was like,
That's mighty kind of you. Yeah, a lot of people don't do the whole touchy-feely thing now I can't see. Elves don't like it, you know. It reminds them of their mortality, I guess. A lot of that going around.
well, elves are real weird. So,
Hell,
that's fine.
you live 1,000 years. Send your mind a bit for strange, I'm sure. They don't get affected like illnesses like we do. I think it just reminds them of the difference between us. And it's a real shame. I met some good elves in my time, but it's getting harder and harder to meet them these days.
Like Demric the Brave.
Emmerich the Brave? I don't think I know that story.
He's a famous elven warrior.
Is that right?
You've not heard of Demric the Brave?
No, I never heard of anybody by that name.
Jeez. It's terrible.
So, look, if we go into the city, it's for one purpose, yes, to find Rosset, I suspect. Well, maybe he's taken one of these other routes, but it'd be a shame to leave here without checking that.
Deal.
Well, I'll keep my ear to the ground. If you come back here, I'll tell you if I see him.
Thank you.
Cast some smirks at that. Because it's blind.
Oh!
He's
Valentine's
gonna say
Day.
that. He's blind.
Okay.
Cool. I think we should go to this gate, see what the real deal is. The light gate.
Yes.
Maybe they'll just let
Do
us
we
straight through.
Do we tell them we abseiled down?
I think we say the least amount possible.
Because that's weird.
We took the adventure route in
Yeah.
to prove our worth.
Quite a strange way to enter a city, though.
For a brave way.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Okay. We'll go with that.
Because financial people like me like to do awesome things. Because we spend a lot of our time in the office.
Sure you do.
Got it.
Well, it's great to meet y'all.
Thank you, Rogan. Is that your name?
Drugan.
Drugan.
Drugan. With a D.
Like the curry.
Drugan Josh.
Drugan. Yeah, that's right.
Drugan.
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 Okay.
Well, you leave him to it. You will stay in his
I wonder if any of our party need to get a bus.
I was thinking that.
Yeah.
You've got
So,
about 5 minutes.
oh wait, good. I was literally just about to say. As you
It
walk
felt like
in,
it was coming to a close.
it was,
so I wasn't
yeah.
gonna say anything.
So you head out. It's really easy to find where the Bright Gate is from here because it is directly north from you. The road that comes through Brightfield is straight, and there's a 90-degree angle that goes straight up to the Bright Gate, straight to the centre of it. And you look up and see the gate where you are. It's a relatively ornate gatehouse, and that is where we leave our session for this week.
Thank you very much. Have a shot of Kirsch.
Shot of curse,
Finish the
everybody.
ball.
Finish the ball.
Finish the.
Thank you.
Won't be Valentine's Day unless you finish the bottle.
Way! Happy Valentine's Day.
Delicious.
Until then, we have been.
Dog.